Welcome back everyone to Gotcha Interact. Today we're going to be talking about the 4-star selector, looking at the different characters, which ones we think are probably worth it to actually go for and actually look at. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Looking at the first few characters, I don't know, Rift, about you. Personally, for me, the first few characters that are kind of on my list, at least the top character, a brand new character, is Lanyan. Now, Lanyan, however you want to say her, is an amazing character, and especially if you can get some constellations, and right now especially with her being on the banner, it's really good, I think, in my personal opinion, to actually pick her up. She's an amazing shielder. She does have the ability to go for the Viridescent as well, so she's kind of a 1 and 2, and a lot of people are actually switching her out instead of either going for Kazuha and sometimes even using her in place of Kazuha, especially when you get to her higher constellations. So an extremely good 4-star personally, I think, from me. So I think the top pick overall, looking at all the leeway character 4-stars that you can get, in my personal opinion, is going to be the new character Lanyan.
Yeah, and that's actually my opinion as well. My number one pick would also be Lanyan. Just a lot of the same reasons. I mean, I've been shocked, maybe not shocked, but very pleasantly surprised just how valuable this new character is because, like you said, people are actually starting to prefer her over a character even like Kazuha as a Viridescent Venerous support, which is just absolutely insane to me. And that shield she does have, and because of that shield, people are also, for the same reason, picking her over a character like Zhongli, because her shield is very actually competitive with a character like Zhongli, which is, once again, just crazy to me that, you know, she's a free 4-star at all of that. She's number one 4-star, but number two, she is free. Like, you can just get her right here. So any new player can get this as well. So her value is just very sky high because she can use the Viridescent, be that kind of support. She can be the shielder in the team, and she does really good at both jobs. So because of that, a lot of teams have actually seen an upgrade from their previous team. I think notably a Neuvillette team has actually seen an increase because you want to obviously use Shilonen with Neuvillette for Rina if you have those, right? For that last slot, though, you only have one character left, and so it's like, okay, I guess I could use Kazuha, guess I could use Zhongli, especially if it's T0 Neuvillette. The thing is, Lanyan for that last slot provides both. So you're still getting your Viridescent, you're still getting the shield. It's just a very comfortable, free-to-play option, and so I think her value is just really high. I could go on and on about other teams that she really helps. They're all over the place. And as an Anemo character, that makes sense because being Anemo with Viridescent, it's pretty flexible. Any team that's doing damage with those core 4 elements is going to see a big increase. So in our humble opinion, Lanyan's probably the number one pick to go for, since she is free, she is new, so most people are probably going after that. But let's say you already have Lanyan from wishing, maybe you were wishing at Arlecchino clan, etc., and you already have Lanyan, maybe you want a different character. If you don't have one of these other 4-stars, then hey, go for it. If you're looking for constellations, that's also not bad. I think for me, though, getting on to pick number 2 after Lanyan, my second favorite character on this entire roster is Yao Yao, and that's just because of her supporting capabilities, similar to Lanyan. Supports are just really good to have, and Yao Yao is a very good 4-star support, especially if you don't have a character like Baizhu. Just having a Dendro healer is pretty valuable if you like Dendro teams. Any kind of Dendro team you're going to do, Yao Yao is a very good candidate, once again, especially if you don't have Baizhu. But that's because Yao Yao and Baizhu are actually the only characters in the game that are Dendro and also, you know, are the team's sustain and healer in the team. So without Baizhu, Yao Yao is like a really good option because she's the only character in your roster without Baizhu that can do what she does. And so she's very good for, like I said, a lot of different Dendro teams. Nilou Bloom teams really like it because Nilou Bloom teams do a lot of self-damage as well. So if you're not using a character like Kaveh on field, Yao Yao is just very comfortable. I don't know about you, but my wallet needs a break after 5.3's crazy banners. Looking to the future now, I need to be saving for these other characters, and I have just the tool you need to help with just that. If you haven't noticed already, we are proud supporters of Loot Bar, an online top-up platform that allows you to purchase Genesis crystals at a cheaper price than inside the game. The reason Loot Bar is 100% safe and efficient is because they only require your UID and server region. They don't ask for any passwords or emails or anything like that. And besides, if you do encounter an issue, they do have a 24/7 live chat support to help you with any problems you may have. Also, if you play other gacha games or just other games in general, you might want to check and see if Loot Bar also supports those. The other great thing about Loot Bar is that they do guarantee your delivery within 30 minutes, but every single time I personally use Loot Bar, I get this in like 30 seconds. Also, if you need some other credibility, there have been other creators that have promoted Loot Bar in the past, and some of them continually do so, including ourselves. If you still aren't convinced, check out the thousands of customer reviews that people have left praising Loot Bar endlessly. So what are you waiting for? Check out that link in the description or even in the pinned comment to start saving today.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Yao Yao definitely has a high placement just because, like you said, an amazing healer, really, really good for Dendro teams. But honestly, I think the biggest part is she is just 4-star Baizhu. And as much as I love my Baizhu, Yao Yao is a character that kind of carried me before I had my Baizhu for a while. So a very, very good character, very, very fun character. And I believe she was actually on the Lantern Rite for free at one point as well. So it's kind of interesting to see that a little bit more. As kind of the years have gone on, the different characters that have been added. But I actually didn't choose Yao Yao for my second pick. I actually chose a different character over here, which is Xingqiu. Now, Xingqiu, in my personal opinion, normally I think when Yelan came out, a lot of people instantly thought that Xingqiu was now useless, was not being used. Didn't really have much desire to actually use him as a character anymore because we now had a 5-star version of him. And just because of how Hydra works in a lot of the vaporized teams and whatever the different teams that may want a character like Xingqiu or Yelan, it's actually most of the time pretty good to have both on the team. So even if you have a character like Yelan with your Xingqiu, honestly, putting them together on a team for your Pyro DPS, which usually used for like Hu Tao or Arlecchino, it's actually extremely good to have both these characters on at the same time rather than just one. The high amount of Hydro application is really, really good, but never mind taking Xingqiu outside of that. In my personal opinion, I think that Xingqiu does way better at energy restoration or a lot of ER, energy recharge with him as a character. He's way better at particle creation, just because of, especially with Sack Sword that he usually is put on. It's extremely good. He's a very good character. The constant application, the normal attacks, he works the same way. I just think he does better in terms of actual, like, creating more particles. At the same time, I understand that Yelan is extremely strong and does more damage. It's definitely easier, technically, sometimes to maybe build, just because it's easier to just go full-blown into HP and ER. But I definitely think that Xingqiu has some very good usability, which is why I think he's my second pick here.
Yeah, and that's actually exactly why he's my third pick, which is kind of funny. A lot of those same reasons. I guess the bias that comes in for me is that, like you said, you have Baizhu, and I don't have Baizhu, so that kind of does make sense when I look at that, why I actually do value Yao Yao so much, and I just like Dendro teams. You know, I pulled Nahida. I just love Dendro, okay? So Yao Yao kind of has that bias for me. But like you said, Xingqiu is amazing. That's why he's third place for me. I know he comes around in the shop, and so does Beto, so that can kind of pull away from picking as the free 4-star, especially if you just don't have a different one that can only be attained via gacha or whatever, like Lanyan. That's why a lot of people are choosing Lanyan, because they're not wishing right now or something like that. But like you said, Xingqiu is just too valuable of a character. He's aged too well, and he still is very valuable to use. I know like you said, we have characters like Yelan. We have new characters, even new teams for some of our Pyro DPSs like Arlecchino, Malwika. We just got Sit Lolly, so now people are finally trying to actually do some melt things that are a little bit more viable and make a little bit more sense now, just more now than they used to at least. But still, you can do those vaporized teams, and they're still amazing using Xingqiu, especially if you don't have Yelan. Xingqiu's very valuable character to have. And besides Vape, there are so many other teams that basically any other team you want Hydro application, Xingqiu is a very valuable character, because when you look at the Hydro roster and take out all the 5-stars, of course, Xingqiu's like the only 4-star of Hydro that is your application, and like a lot of application. I know you know C6 Candace has some application, but not everyone's gonna have that. Barbara's Barbara. It's just Xingqiu is the best in slot 4-star for off-field Hydro application, and therefore that gives him a lot of value. Once again, I know he comes in the shop, but even his constellations are good, so you can go after something like that. But if you are a new player and you don't have Xingqiu, I would definitely at least consider that, as well as Lanyan and Yao Yao for me. But Vixen, what's your third pick?
So I definitely thought about a character like Yao Yao for my third pick, just because an extremely good character. We've already talked a lot about her. Another character that I thought she's going to be a runner-up for me is, which is probably going to be surprising, is Xiangling. Now, if you know me at all, I'm not a huge fan of Xiangling using her in general. In fact, I tried to find ways before Mawika to just not use Xiangling. I've had or Tartaglia, he was my first 5-star, premium 5-star character. Never used him purely because he was so dependent on Xiangling, and kind of still technically is. And there's definitely ways I could have gone around it, but I was just too stubborn. But I think overall, Xiangling is an extremely strong character, especially when you start to get, once again, more constellations. A lot of these 4-stars, like normal, they're going to get more constellations. They're usually going to get stronger and even better. I think with Xiangling, though, the reason why she's a runner-up is actually because I chose Gao Ming as my third character to actually go for. Now, Gao Ming is an extremely good character in my personal opinion, just because of the strength that he is at a 4-star level. He is a 5-star character pretending to be a 4-star character, just because of the strength that he has. Once again, if you have Shan Yun, if you have a lot of those plunge teams, it makes those teams that strength even higher. And yes, if you have Shan Yun, you can make characters like Hu Tao or D-Luke, other characters that get infusions with Pyro, and do some sort of similar plunge type team that you would do with this. But in my personal opinion, from what I've seen, I still think that Gao Ming is extremely, extremely good and can put up sometimes similar numbers to even those 5-star characters with these plunge teams. Now, when you take out Shan Yun, he definitely doesn't do as well, but if you don't have Shan Yun, that doesn't mean that you can't build and play Gao Ming. He does do he has the ability to basically do his own type of skill hits with a type of plunge similarities. So I think that it's still very, very fun to do. His gameplay is really, really fun, always getting to use a skill over and over again, having the little Chinese dragon on his back, always play around. He's a very, very fun character, and I think overall he deserves a lot of hype. And I think that he's fallen off a little bit in terms of like people actually wanting him. But as you know, in general, I think he's just a really, really good character that I think deserves maybe a little bit more hype than he's maybe given.
Yeah, no, that's totally valid. His damage has continued to surprise me, even without Xiaoyan. It's just insane that you're like, oh yeah, this is just a 4-star. Like, that's crazy. Because when you compare that to all the other 4-star DPSs, he's definitely near the top, if not at the top, with other characters like Hazo, who just has a really good damage potential with his skill, etc. So if Gaming is a character you don't have, then hey, I'd say go for it. He's a lot of fun, like you said, Vixen, and quite a good character, actually. So I think that's all for this one, but those are some of just our opinions on what we think the character you should be going after. Obviously, this is a game, have fun with it, so if you just want a character, go for the one you like. For me, sometimes it kind of just depends on what character do I not have, because I'm more of a collector, and so if I didn't have one of the 4-stars here, I would probably just be defaulting to, well, I don't have this one. Like, if this was my account, and for some reason I don't have Chongyun yet, I'm choosing Chongyun. But that's why Lanyan's on here, and why Lanyan was my pick, because I'm not wishing right now. I picked her because I didn't have her. So that's the most important part. Just pick who you want, but those are some of our just humble opinions on the value of some of these 4-stars and which one would be a good option to go for based on what your account might look like.
Also, keep in mind, right now we were talking about the shop. Xiangling is going to be given in the Abyss. Even another copy of her and multiple copies over time can be given with her through the shop. Characters like Beidou, Xingqiu, and Ningguang are also in the shop as they are coming up. Now, keep in mind though, with Xiangling, she's in the shop currently for January and she'll be back in July. I believe Beidou is coming out in February with, I think, Noelle or something like that. So those two characters, if you're thinking about Xiangling or Beidou, keep in mind, if you have the ability to and you want to pull in the shop for these characters, just keep that in mind if you are thinking about that. Once again though, thank you guys for watching the video. If you guys did like the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.